What it do, y'all? Welcome to Nico Knows Wrestling. This is the latest episode I just wanted to drop. We had some major news happen on SmackDown last week. Unless you were living under a rock, no pun intended, I guess you might not know that Jacob Fatu has debuted in the WWE. And he's joined the Bloodline. That was a game changer. I just started finding out about Jacob Fatu as I started to get into MLW over the last year or two. And I gotta say, the dude is impressive as hell. He's agile, he's intense, and he looks like an absolute beast. There were some rumors that came out a couple weeks ago about Jacob Fatu and about if him joining the Bloodline was kind of put on hold because WWE officials had maybe started to get the vibe that Jacob Fatu would overshadow Solo Sikoa. And I'm here to fucking say that he absolutely did. He did. He did in 5 minutes more than what the fuck Solo's done in over a year. Completely overshadowed him. It's not Solo's fault. He's kind of young still. He's still getting it together on the mic. And to some of the audience, he took a lot of L's last year as a part of Roman's feud by being his silent enforcer. Because he got protected early on. I don't know if everybody remember. But when Solo debuted, he didn't take a pin for a long ass time. I mean, we forget the dominant victory that he had over John Cena just last year in 2023. That shit seemed like it is worlds away. And it was just last year. Probably not even over 9 months. But back to the topic at hand, I do think they were right to worry that Jacob Fatu would overshadow Solo as the new leader of the Bloodline. And that got me thinking, and so that's why I wanted to drop this video. Because I came up with the concept of what I would do to how would I book this new Bloodline shit. Right? And so the more I sat on it, the more I thought, I was just thinking, since we already know Hikuleo is probably most likely going to join them as well, I would have Roman come back after SummerSlam, either at SummerSlam or very close to it. And I would have Solo possibly getting a world title shot. And what I would have is I would have a 6-man tag, of course, with Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens at Money in the Bank. With the terms that should the Bloodline win, Solo Sikoa, the tribal chief, interim tribal chief, would then get a title match at SummerSlam. And I would have them get that victory over them, of course, by establishing Jacob Fatu as this unbelievable monster. And so then we introduce Roman coming back as it leads up to SummerSlam and to Cody versus Solo. And the numbers game really start to build on Cody to the point where people are honestly debating what if WWE is about to pull the trigger on Solo. And I know that might be hard once again for a lot of people to believe because, again, Solo with a lot of the fan base just doesn't have that legitimacy. He doesn't have that appeal yet of a top star. And it's honestly mostly due to the booking and then due to him just not having the promo ability. Because in WWE, being able to elicit a response from the crowd and being able to control the crowd with your promo ability. I don't think people understand how large and how major that is. Excuse me, y'all, I had dropped my joke for a second. But I don't think people understand how major that is, being able to cut a promo. And so back to the storyline again. So I'm sorry, I'm getting back to them, talking my head off and everything. And so we get to Solo possibly getting close to losing that match or whatever, and somehow he ends up losing the match. But Roman debuts and comes back probably, I would say, that Friday before the match. And so there's tension in the air if Roman's going to help Solo become champion. And somehow Solo fails in his quest. And so we have the following SmackDown where we have Solo, and we have Solo out here now, pretty upset, steaming mad, and wanting to blame people for not successfully becoming a champ. And so then finally he reveals that Roman isn't the tribal chief anymore. While Roman's out there, the whole bloodline is back, and we don't listen to you anymore. We don't follow you anymore. You lost. Even though Solo just lost, but still, you lost the title. And I had them jump Roman. I have Roman get his ass kicked and get annihilated by Solo, Jacob Fatu, and Tamatonga and Tangaloa. And Roman's then put on the shelf for a couple weeks. And so we get an interaction where they happen to finally attack Jey Uso after a match. Jey was trying to avoid this and not be a part of this feud, but he's now become dragged in after being jumped. And out of nowhere, who do we appear to help Jey fight off the new bloodline? None other than Jimmy Uso. And yet and still, the Usos still can't do anything with the bloodline, and they get annihilated. And so we get the Usos slowly starting to get to the point where they're reunited and on the same page. And we go a couple of SmackDowns. I want to say maybe one or two. We get where they have a tag match, or they have a segment where they challenge the bloodline to a tag match, and it breaks down in the fisticuffs, of course. And out of nowhere, you hear the tribal chief music. You hear that Roman Reigns theme hits, and Roman comes out and he's laying foots to boots, the asses everywhere, taking everybody out. Clears the ring, and the new bloodline, the old bloodline, is standing strong temporarily. And so, of course, the Usos win, and the feud is steady brewing for the Roman Solo match. But again, we get a 6-man tag to where Roman has to earn that match against Solo. And so we get Roman and the Usos against Fatu, Tangaloa, and Tamatonga. However, Roman then would lose this match, because I would have the debuting Hakileo come in, interfere, cost them this match. And so now the Bloodline has an even more numbers advantage. And this is where I would have things get interesting, because I would have The Rock come back around this time if possible. Start building for the Rock Roman feud that's going to be on the horizon. And he makes it known that Solo was following his orders. But now we see that The Rock wants to build his own bloodline. And so they finally get rid of Solo. And Jacob Fatu now becomes the leader of this bloodline temporarily until The Rock comes back. But he is The Rock's fist, The Rock's hand to the throne. And so with Solo now being kicked out, he has to face enemies from the new bloodline that he built and hopefully try to extend an olive branch to Roman Reigns and his brothers. Eventually, we can get the damn near Survivor Series War Games, and we can have the Bloodline versus Bloodline, where we got Fatu, the Gorillas of Destiny, and Hakuleo versus Roman, the Usos, and Solo. And I would have the OG bloodline come out on top with them being fully reunited together. And now we get a Roman Fatu feud, which again extends to the Roman Rock match that we were originally going to get at WrestleMania 40 last year. But now it has a lot more sizzle to this because these guys have been pretty much building a whole bloodline civil war in the last portion of this year. And I thought about this. I'm not saying this is what WWE is going to do because I'm not no damn booker, man. I'm not a booker at all. I'm just a guy that loves wrestling, but I really am curious to see how this storyline is going to play out. But look, man, y'all take these. Y'all be easy. Keep following the Ribs. Please hit that like and subscribe. And y'all take these. Be easy.